Stable Diffusion. Stability AI released Stable Diffusion, a diffusion model that builds images by systematically removing noise until structure emerges. Starting with SD 1.5, the real turning point came with SDXL. While other tools are like buying a finished painting, Stable Diffusion is like getting the canvas, paints, and brushes. The magic isn't just the base model, it's the ecosystem. Running SDXL, or the newer 8B parameter SD 3.5 locally, means total privacy and 0 monthly fees. But the real power comes from the community add-ons, ControlNet to force specific poses, and Regional Prompter to control exactly where objects appear. It is the only workflow that allows for pixel-perfect direction, but be ready to spend as much time debugging Python libraries as you do making art. DALL-E. OpenAI's DALL-E 3 used to be the smartest artist in the room, but also the most stubborn. Integrated into ChatGPT, it solves the biggest headache in AI art: prompt adherence. Ask for a cat reading a newspaper in a top hat, and it actually renders the text on the newspaper correctly. It listens to instructions better than anything else. But the downside is ChatGPT aesthetic. Everything comes out looking smooth, plastic, and unmistakably AI. Plus, the safety rails are incredibly sensitive. Try to generate anything remotely gritty or controversial, and the content policy block hammer comes down instantly. It's perfect for rapid ideation, but hard to use for final stylized production. Ideogram. If DALL-E 3 is the safety scissor version of text generation, Ideogram 3 is the X-Acto knife. It is currently the undisputed king of typography. Where other models struggle to spell coffee shop without turning it into alien hieroglyphics, Ideogram renders complex logos and book covers with perfect spelling every time. The trade-off is soul. While it nails the text, the actual artistic rendering can sometimes feel a bit like a high-end stock photo, clean and commercial, but lacking the raw, painterly emotion you get from Midjourney. But if you need a logo or a poster, you don't use DALL-E, you use Ideogram. Recraft. While the rest of the industry is fighting over pixels, Recraft v3 quietly won the war for professional designers. It is the only diffusion model capable of generating native vector SVGs. This means you can scale an icon to the size of a billboard with zero quality loss. It currently tops the leaderboards because it allows for style consistency across a whole brand identity. It's not for vibes, though. It feels less like an art generator and more like a piece of corporate software. You won't get wild, psychedelic hallucinations here. You get usable, clean assets. It is the first tool that feels like it belongs in Adobe Illustrator rather than a Discord server. Midjourney. Midjourney used to be that Discord bot, but the new web editor has finally made it a serious production tool. The ability to outpaint and inpaint directly in the browser fixes the old frustration of rolling the dice on a whole new image just to fix a weird hand. It still dominates the industry for raw beauty. It creates lighting and texture that feel curated rather than generated. However, it still fights you on direct structural control. While it has fixed the persistent headache of character and identity consistency, you still can't upload a skeleton pose or a depth map like you can in Stable Diffusion. You're trading granular control for effortless aesthetic quality. FLUX. Black Forest Labs, the original Stable Diffusion team, didn't just iterate, they reset the board. FLUX.2, which just dropped, is the open source heavyweight champion. It introduces multi-reference support, allowing you to blend distinct concepts with terrifying accuracy. It solves the spaghetti fingers problem entirely. Anatomy looks correct straight out of the box. But there is a catch: hardware. The full 32 billion parameter version of FLUX.2 is a VRAM monster. Unless you are running a 24GB RTX 4090 or enterprise gear, you will be forced to use compressed, quantized versions. It is one of the most powerful models on Earth, but only if your PC can handle the heat. Firefly. Adobe Firefly isn't trying to be the cool model, it's trying to be the one that doesn't get you sued. Trained strictly on Adobe stock and public domain content, it's the only model safe enough for Fortune 500 legal teams. The integration is where it shines. It lives directly inside Photoshop. Highlighting a section of an image and typing "add a vintage car" just works, with the lighting and perspective matching automatically. The trade-off is creativity. Because it wasn't trained on the whole internet, it struggles with niche artistic styles or pop culture references. It's a boring but essential workhorse for professional designers. Moving beyond static images, we now explore the models pioneering the next frontier: video and audio generation. Sora. OpenAI's Sora is the concept car of the industry. Everyone talks about it, but almost no one can drive it. It changed the game by proving that diffusion transformers could scale to video, breaking clips into patches to simulate 3D space so well that characters can walk out of frame and return without glitching. The physics and object permanence are groundbreaking. The temporal consistency is what sets it apart, something competitors still struggle with. But right now it's mostly vaporware for the general public, creating a frustrating gap between what's technically possible and what's practically usable. It serves as the benchmark for quality, but until OpenAI opens the gates, it's not a tool you can actually put in your workflow. Dream Machine. While OpenAI hesitated, Luma Labs actually shipped. Dream Machine was the first model to put Sora-level quality into a public web browser. It excels at physics-heavy shots, fluid, smoke, and complex interactions that usually break other models. It's fast, accessible, and generates 5-second clips that feel surprisingly grounded in reality. It isn't immune to the occasional morphing glitch where a toaster turns into a cat, but it was the first tool to prove that high-end video generation wasn't just for big tech labs. Veo. Google's Veo 3 is built for the director's chair. Integrated into the Vertex AI ecosystem, it understands cinematic language better than its peers. Terms like dolly zoom, pan left, or rack focus actually translate into camera movement. The native audio generation sets it apart. Synchronized dialogue with accurate lip sync, sound effects, and ambient noise all generated alongside the visuals, eliminating the awkward post-production audio scramble that plagues other tools. It's incredibly polished, offering 1080p resolution that integrates seamlessly with YouTube Shorts. The recent Veo 3.1 update extends clip length to 60 seconds and adds powerful scene extension features, addressing one of the model's biggest limitations. The first and last frame feature lets you dictate a visual arc by supplying bookend images, and the model generates coherent transitions that preserve character appearance throughout, a game changer for narrative consistency. While it lacks the raw viral chaos factor of some competitors, it offers the consistency and prompt adherence that professional editors need to build a coherent sequence rather than just a cool, random clip. Gen 3 Alpha. Runway's Gen 3 Alpha is less of a slot machine and more of a cockpit, but the killer feature for 2025 is Act 1. This is a game changer for narrative storytelling. You can record a video of yourself acting, making a face, reciting a monologue, or laughing, and Act 1 will map that exact performance onto an alien, a painting, or a claymation character with one-to-one emotional fidelity. No motion capture suits, no complex rigging. Paired with the Turbo model for rapid, faster than Kling prototyping, Gen 3 is the only tool capable of making characters truly act, not just exist. Kling AI. Kling AI is the endurance runner. While most models gasp for air after 5 seconds, Kling can extend clips up to 3 minutes. This changes everything for storytelling. You can actually let a scene breathe, hold a shot on a character, or watch an action sequence play out without the video cutting to black prematurely. It specializes in human movement, dancing, walking, and fighting. Looks scary real. The cost is time. Generating these long, high-quality clips takes heavy compute, but for long-form content creators, it's the only game in town. Hailuo. If Kling AI is for realism, Hailuo by Minimax is for vibe and motion. This model has gained a cult following because it simply moves better. It avoids the dreaded zombie drift, where AI characters slide across the floor without lifting their feet. Hailuo characters have weight and momentum. It trades some texture sharpness for a softer filmic look, but the motion fluidity is unmatched. If the shot involves running, parkour, or complex action, Hailuo is the one that won't make the character clip through the geometry. Stable Audio. Stable Audio 2.0 is the moment AI audio graduated from cool toy to actual instrument. While Suno and Udio models use transformers to predict the next note like text autocomplete, Stable Audio uses diffusion to refine raw sound waves. This gives it unprecedented control over texture and timing. It delivers full 3-minute tracks with clear intros, build-ups, and resolutions, assets that actually work in a video timeline, but the feature that steals the show is audio to audio. Record a rough beatbox rhythm, and the model swaps it for a crisp studio drum kit while locking perfectly to the original groove. It's the first time an audio model feels like a production partner rather than a random noise generator. Honorable mentions: Diffusion is the cutting edge of 3D. It abandons traditional mesh generation for 3D Gaussian splatting, creating render-ready 3D assets that look photorealistic in real time. RF diffusion is the most important model nobody talks about. It uses diffusion to design new proteins, effectively helping scientists cure diseases rather than just generating waifus. Imagen 3 is Google's silent powerhouse. It actually beats DALL-E 3 on text rendering and texture, but it's often overlooked because it lives behind Google's strict safety filters. Audio LDM2 is the open-source hero for sound. It's not as polished as stable audio, but it runs on consumer hardware, making it the best choice for developers building their own audio tools. Transfusion represents the future architecture. It combines the text understanding of an LLM with the visual generation of a diffusion model into one single brain. Mattergen is Microsoft's chemistry wizard. It uses diffusion to discover new materials for batteries and solar panels, proving this tech is about more than just media. The diffusion landscape of 2025 isn't about finding the best model anymore, it's about specialization. Use FLUX for character consistency, Midjourney for art, Firefly for work, Hailuo for motion, and Kling for duration. The one tool to rule them all era is over. Build your toolkit and pick the right specialist for the job. Which models do you use in your workflow? Drop a comment below. I will see you in the next video.